And my name is Lior Scaler, Regional Ambassador with your favorite, world's fastest growing designer fashion brand, Global Wealth Trade, creators of the brands Fairy, Mosh, and Posh. And tonight we have a webinar that you guys have been asking for, that you've been dying for. And so we decided to get together to bring you the How to Handle Objections webinar. That's the business that we're in. We're in the business of answering people's questions so that they can make an educated decision on joining this incredible, incredible company. And sometimes people don't get the correct impression of how special and unique this company is, and we have to handle their questions and objections. And it's great to be able to learn the best way to do that. And so we decided to come together to share with you guys how we handle objections, and hopefully that will allow you to handle objections a little bit easier in the future so that you can have a growing business without any obstacles. So thank you every single person that's on this call tonight for being on the call. We have people logging in from all around the world. The lines are just jam-packed. I see Europe, I see Africa, I see Australia, I see Caribbean, United States, Canada. Everybody wants to know and wants to learn, so get a pen, get a piece of paper, make sure you take notes. We will do as best as we can to make sure that this call is recorded. However, technology being that it is, make sure you take notes just in case anything happens with the technology. So without any further ado, I want to introduce one of the three presenters on this webinar tonight. This gentleman is the youngest millionaire in the company, won the President's Cup Award, which is the highest award in the company, a few years ago. He also is a Leadership Council Group member. He's a shareholder. He's a top earner of the company, travels around the world building his team, has teams in many, many multiple countries around the world. Is actually the #2 top earner in the company, and he's an incredible trainer, an incredible host, and he's got a lot of knowledge from the industry. So if there's anybody who is a specialist who has actually spoken to many, many, many people before in the past, and if there's anybody who has heard a lot of objections and who understands how to handle them, it's definitely this gentleman right here. He is our national ambassador, one of our national ambassadors, Mr. Rene Liao. Rene, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Lior, can you hear me okay, buddy?
Loud and clear, man.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Lior. And again, very good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, everyone on the call tonight. And I just can't say how pumped I am to be able to train this call with two other incredible trainers, two people that I've seen in action, two people who walk the talk, who literally, have so much experience, aside from myself, when it comes to this whole area of handling objections. And so, of course, it's a pleasure having Mr. Lior Scaler, our regional ambassador. We call him Mr. USA, the James Bond of GWT, the man who really has no home, but really has a lot of homes because he just travels all over the world. When it gets too cold over here in Toronto, he migrates south to Miami. When it gets too hot in Miami, he comes back up north to Toronto. So, again, amazing to have Lior Scaler, of course, again, President's Cup winner, shareholder, of course, ambassador with the World Trade. And, of course, we have another very special guest trainer tonight with us that I just, I really wanted to bring her onto the call because, when I do my travels out west and get a chance to be with the team, I really see a lot of the leadership developing in different markets. And this lady here tonight, Anne-Marie Chantal, one of our diplomats in the company, I just seen her rocking her way through, meeting after meeting, tour after tour, handling objection after handling objection. And, I really want to bring together, different people, aside from just myself, and Lior, who do get, of course, objections, and allow for the average person, you guys tonight on the call, again, thank you for being on the call for tonight, but I want to give you guys a chance to see how objections can be handled from different people in the company. And what you're going to find tonight is that pretty much they're all the same thing, but I want to do a quick check just to make sure we do have, of course, our co-host trainer, Anne-Marie Chantal, with us on the call. Anne-Marie, are you there with us really quickly?
Yes, Renee, can you hear me?
Okay, loud and clear. So great that we have you again. Welcome to the call, and thank you for agreeing to be on this call with me on the board tonight. And without further ado, so folks, there's a quick few notes here again, and please, like Leora said, make sure you take a lot of notes here. Again, this call is being recorded, so again, hopefully you will get a chance to listen to this training afterwards. And what you'll find is listening to a call more than once, especially these kind of calls here where you can actually, use a tool to convert this video into an MP3 file and play in your car, you're going to be rocking and rolling. Because end of the day, what you're going to find out is that in this business, there are only ever so many questions or objections you will ever hear. There's not an infinite amount of questions. So once you know how to answer the main ones that most people get, and you know how to handle it the way that we do it, pretty much the business is super, super simple, and you're going to have amazing success. And so, it's never exactly the same wording, but it pretty much means the same thing. And so without further ado, here we go, folks. Again, I want to thank my co-trainers, Mr. Leora Theater and Anne-Marie, for being on the call tonight. So a quick few points here about handling objections. Again, the objections are simply just unanswered questions, okay? And they're usually fear-based or due to lack of knowledge. So some people just don't really understand, or they're a bit concerned, or they have a bit of fear when it comes to opportunity. And so, they kind of say things, and these things, what they basically are is just unanswered questions. They just don't know any better. So the main thing is, again, just to not get emotional, because you don't want to show emotions when it comes to handling objections, because it looks kind of, sort of odd. So you want to be pleasantly persistent to get past the no. And most important thing that I've seen some people do is they actually mistakenly create more questions. So, maybe the prospect had one objection, but because of maybe the thing that you're saying or you're adding too many things, you're not directly addressing that person's questions. You're actually creating more questions for that prospect. So we always want to say you want to talk less, basically listen more, and just answer directly the objection or the unanswered question that they actually have. And so some other quick key points here. 50% of consumers actually say no 4 times before making a purchase. So is it strange that, you're first person that you talk to and the first time they see this business, is it odd that they say no, or they have questions or unanswered questions? Absolutely not. So basically, once you understand that most people actually say no 4 times, it means you want to get them to get past 4 no's, because then it becomes a yes, right? And again, the only chance you'll have of them not basically becoming your partner in this business is because you just gave up too soon. They had, an unanswered question or an objection that you didn't get past. You accepted that objection and you gave up too soon, and that's why nothing progressed. But once you learn tonight again, how to address these objections and handle these questions, you're going to find that everything will be successful. Again, you want to show gentle, persistent, not be too pushy. You don't want to have that salesperson kind of vibe. And remember, right, consumers want to buy, they just don't want to be sold. So the main thing is not to make it feel like you're trying to sell the person something, but, to show them the value of why to become a DDM launching partner here. And so, this part here, I actually was really impressed to get from Anne-Marie. I wanted Anne-Marie to really get, share these few points when it comes to this page. Here's Anne-Marie. Can you go ahead and just sort of explain to us, I got this from you. Go ahead and take away why this is so important here.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Rene. Just wanted to make sure you still can hear me clear here.
Oh, yes, loud and clear and very excited.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. You know what? Handling objection is so important, and the way you respond is everything. Excuse me. So basically, the biggest thing I learned is if you act defensive, you plant a seed of doubt into their mind, right? And if you act offensive, you're actually chasing them away. So your goal is to educate and make sure people understand. Don't try to win an argument, because nobody wants that. So really, our job is to help people blind to see. So when someone brings up a negative question, if they offer you an objection, ask question, what really they're do, what really you need to do is help them to identify their blind spot, right? Because it's all about education and understanding.
Fantastic. Okay, again, I love how you say, not to win an argument, because again, I think we can all agree here that if you ever actually win an argument, the reality is that you actually lost, because now, you might feel good, but they feel kind of bad, and then you still actually lost the whole scenario, correct?
That's correct. Also, one of the biggest things that I found is that people will have an objection or questions because they want to sound smart, right? So they'll throw you, hey, oh, I don't have this, or I don't know that, or just to see how you're going to react and to feel that they're smarter than you. So don't argue with them, but go towards, educate them and understanding them, where they're coming from.
That's a very good point, because I can see some people, when they get an objection, that they might get defensive or and take it the wrong way, right? So again, very key points here, folks. Again, education and understanding. All right, so moving along here, we have what we call the 3 Ds of objection handling. And of course, Leora Scaler, why don't you take us through again the 3 Ds of objection handling here?
Absolutely, Renee. So the first D of objection handling is determination. So, when I'm handling objections, the first thing that the prospect or the guest feels is my confidence and my belief that what I'm saying is that I believe and that I'm confident in the answer that I'm giving them. And so that's why we wanted to do this training today, so that you now can have the belief and confidence in answering questions. And so there's a great training that Renee and I did called the Tripod of Belief Training. And in this training, you will actually learn about the 3 very important areas that to get your belief strong in. Because when you're answering an objection or a question, they're listening to how confident you are. They're listening to your belief in what you're saying. And if it's weak, if it's not strong, then they're just not going to believe you. And they're not going to be confident. But if you're confident, they're going to be confident. So the Tripod of Belief training talks about increasing your belief in the industry, increasing your belief in the company, and increasing your belief in yourself. And a lot of times, increasing your belief in yourself is the most important one. And so definitely watch that training to get your belief and confidence up there. The second D of objection handling is dialogue, okay? And dialogue is what you say, and that's exactly what we're going to be covering today. And the third one is the delivery. So again, confidence and enthusiasm. How do you deliver the message? What's your tone of voice? Do you get upset? Do you sound like you don't have the answer? Do you sound unsure? Okay, so that's very, very important. So determination means don't give up. Keep answering their questions no matter what, because they do always have questions. It's very rare that somebody doesn't, and so just keep answering their questions until they run out of questions. Once they run out of questions, what you're going to see is that they're ready to get started. And then the dialogue and the delivery is number 3. So the next slide, we're going to cover the 3 E's on handling objections, and I'll pass it back to Renee to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, thank you so much, Leo. And, if you are wondering, do we have a training on the Tripod of Belief? We do have that training. It's actually located on the ourgwt.com website on the left banner under T for Tripod of Belief training. And so, one thing that I see from Anne-Marie is the 3 E's. So, Anne-Marie, can you take us through really quickly the 3 E's on handling objections?
So, sorry, yes, definitely. So basically, it's so important to know the 3 E's because your energy is everything. Somebody who comes in very low and not sure, goes with the confidence, it will take all the objection with them. But if you come strong, all energetic, with your enthusiasm and your excitement, like those 3 E's go all together. And that will bring the confidence within what they're hearing from you, right? So it's very simple. Just you're confident, you have your energy, enthusiasm, and excitement.
So basically, if you don't have any of these three things, or the 3Ds, chances are you're going to have a tough time. But if you have the 3Ds and the 3Es, then you're going to rock and roll, right? Okay. So moving along here, so we had the 3Ds, we had the 3Es, so it only makes sense we had the 3Fs. There's no 3Gs that come through that. So Anne-Marie, why don't you walk us through again, because you're such a master of this, but tell us the 3Fs on handling objections.
Thank you, Renee. Well, the 3F, as you can see here, is feel, felt, found. And one of the biggest thing I found is that to overcome objection, the biggest thing is that there's a concept. There's, tactic comes and goes, but the concept that are timeless. And the concept here is the feel, felt, found. You want people to know that you can relate with them and that you can feel and felt where they're coming from. But then you want to make sure you let them know what happened. What did you find that helped you overcome where they're coming from, right? So, and always don't forget that you have my 5. You have the third-party support and credibility, and that is huge because when you relate the feel, felt, found through rather a story, which a story is huge, whether it's yours or somebody else, and you also bring up a third party on with you at a tour, or that you call them, or that you grab your MacPack, lookbooks, all these amazing tools that the company is offering us is huge credibility and actually talks stronger than what you can say. And to bring on, again, the 3F, bring on a story that rather you have or that you know of someone in the company that can bring up the feel, the felt, and the found, and you will always have the best handling and objection that there is out there.
I can definitely attest to that because, when you tell someone that you know how they feel when they tell you, I don't have the time, it's one thing just to say that you know how they feel, but when you can give an example, like a story, as you just mentioned, that might even be very similar to their life story, then all of a sudden you'll find that the person is much more sort of open-eared. Now they're thinking, wow, Anne-Marie has exactly the same kind of lifestyle, the same kind of situation I had before, so how does she overcome it? And so that's absolutely wonderful, guys and folks. I think every single meeting I probably use the 3Fs at least once, and every single meeting, if not, 10, 20, 30 times as well. So moving along here, one technique that, again, I always pick a lot from, the people in the company. I learn from others. And one thing that I did learn from, of course, Anne-Marie, that you were using from a book that you read was the sort of the if you, would you. And, the whole point of this if you, would you concept is that sometimes the objections that you hear aren't the real objections they actually have. And what you're going to find is that sometimes people just say these objections thinking that, well, if I say I don't have any time, that maybe, Leo or Anne-Marie might just accept that and not bother, talking to me anymore, and I can get off easily kind of thing. But in reality, when I told them that I don't have the time, it wasn't what I was really thinking. So, what you want to do here is you want to peel back the layers of the onion, so to speak, and keep peeling for the truth. Find the core. What's the core reason? Because, a lot of times when you hear an objection, what you want to do is you want to identify, okay, well, is that objection really the main reason why, or is there something else that they're not telling me? And so, for example, if someone says to you, objection, I don't have the time, you could say, so, if you had the time, would you get started? Would you launch your VDM? Would you do this business if you had the time? So the whole thing of if you, would you, it kind of lends a very sort of strong tactic where what you're going to find out at the end is the truth. Because, if they really didn't have the time, then they would go in to explain to you more reasons why not. But, if you ask them, so if you had the time, would you launch your business? If they said yes, then that truly and really it is about, the time. And so I love this technique of if you, would you, because it'll help you identify if this person is being real or not. And likewise, if they tell you, I don't have the money, the simple thing to ask back in return is, so if you had the money, would you get started? And again, what you're going to find out is that, if they actually said, yes, if I had the money, I get started, then you actually know that's what they really meant. you know, because otherwise they say, well, on top of that, there's this other thing or this other thing. And so, you know, we're trying to give you guys a whole bunch of different techniques, different the 3 F's, the feel, sound, sound, the if you, would you, to help you guys become more effective when it comes to, of course, the handling of the objections. And so that was pretty much the intro we wanted to have for you guys tonight. And, you know, of course, one thing that I also got from Anne-Marie is the objection type. So Anne-Marie, can you cover us really quickly the 2 kind of categories that you will hear when it comes to objections?
Definitely. Basically, it's really cool because with this company, you will only have 2 types of objection. You will have the type of they don't believe in their own abilities or they don't believe in network marketing. That's it. If they don't believe in their own ability, you'll hear things like, I don't have money, I don't have time, this is not my thing, I'm not a salesperson, I don't know anyone. That kind of objection will come, which really means they don't believe in themselves, right? And if it's like network marketing, you'll hear things like, oh, is this one of those pyramid thing? Is it a network marketing? Is it MLM? I'm not interested in MLM. Really, what they're saying is there's a little bit more deeper, just like Renee was saying earlier, you need to peel the onion, right? You need to find out exactly what is it that they're saying deeper. Because everybody has enough money knowing that they can make more than their investment. And if people have background in network marketing and fail, of course they're not going to believe in it, right? Because if they were in the 97% of other company out there with health and wellness, for example, they might have a hard time. Whatever reason, right? You want to go and dig further. So one of the biggest thing, again, just to bring out what Renee was saying with the if I would you and the 3 F, for me, the biggest thing is to find out what is the limiting belief and bring those 3 F with the question at the end. And
right.
That's it. That's what I'm going to find.
Fantastic. Okay, and so we actually had for tonight, me and Lior were talking beforehand, and there's so many objections that you can get. But again, all these objections, as Anne-Marie just mentioned, do fall into 2 categories. Okay, so you want to have that in mind, when you're going through this training tonight. But also, we have so many different kinds of objections you might get that, and given we only have about 45 minutes to an hour for this phone call, if we don't have the time to finish the call, there might be a part 2, but we're going to try to get it right into it and try to answer every single objection that you might ever encounter. And of course, we're going to end off with question and answer. So without further ado, let's get into this really quickly here. So Lior Theater, what would you say if someone says to you, I don't have the time?
Gotcha. Well, what we just talked about is a great way to find out, if time is really the obstacle or not. And I would say, well, if you did have the time, would you get started? And if they say no, well, maybe time is not the issue. Maybe there's another issue. And if they say yes, that they would get started, then the most important question would be why. If you had the time, why would you get started? And when they start telling you why they would get started, now they are becoming present to what the power of this business is. So if they say, yes, I would get started in this business because, I don't have time and I do want to spend more time with my family or travel the world or do the things I've always wanted to do and experience life and save money on my taxes and all of the other great benefits that this company gives them, now they actually reminded themselves why this is a great business, right? So it's very powerful. So it's very powerful when you say, if you would you, because now, again, they are the ones that are, almost convincing themselves why this is a great opportunity because of all of the great things that it's going to do for them. There's a lot of other things that you could possibly say. If somebody says, I don't have time, one thing you could say is, well, that's exactly why you need this business. If you don't have time, well, you don't really have a choice but to do this business, because what are you going to do? You're going to spend the next 40 years of your life working 40 hours a week just to retire on 30% of what you made when you were working full time, and now you have to try and figure out how to live a great lifestyle. with only 30% of what you used to make. So you definitely need to be able to have the time to enjoy your life now, because life is short, right? And again, people forget what's important in life because they've almost given up that anything is possible outside of their 9-to-5 jobs. They think, well, I have to work 9 to 5. This is the only way that my life is going to go. This is what they've taught me in school, that I have to get a job and I have to work hard for the rest of my life, and then I die, and that's my life. Well, that's not a great life, right? Why should you be giving most of your time to somebody else so that they can go golfing, so that they can live on the beach, so that they can spend more time with their family? Why are you spending your life so that somebody else can have a great life? Why not spend the time that you have in your life in order to build yourself a great life so that you can have those things in your life? So again, it's our job to help people to realize that, because most people, again, they've been brainwashed to believe that the way that they're living is the only way to live. But we know that it's not the only way to live, and it's our responsibility to remind them of that so that they can be present to that. But I know that we have a lot of other ways of handling this objection, and I know that Renee and Marie have their own thoughts.
Well, Leroy, one thing I really wanted to sort of mention is that, I always hear you mentioning, especially with this topic, how you tell people, the whole thing of how we're all going to be at the same place one day. Can you kind of talk about that really quickly?
Absolutely. We are all going to the same place one day. I think everybody on this call knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so because of that, life is short. And because life is short, you can't just, spend it working for somebody else and not living the life that you really want to live. I mean, I'm grateful today that I'm able to wake up in the morning and to ask myself the question, what do I want to do today? And that's the power of residual income. Somebody once asked me, how do you know you're rich? Well, the answer to that question is, you're rich when you don't care what time it is. And when you're making residual income, you don't care what time it is, because you can do what you want. You can have the time you want to live. You can have the money to do the things you want to live. So that's why you need this opportunity, and that's why if you don't have time, then you're just going to end up where we're all going to end up, but you're not going to enjoy your time on this earth in the best possible way. And what's the point in living if you can't enjoy life in the best possible way? And that's what GWT does for you.
Wow. Now, again, I know that for Anne-Marie, you must have, very similar sort of answers, but did you want to add anything to this objection before we move on?
No, Leo was right on it. This is it.
Okay. And one thing that I do like to ask as well is, is that if they say that they actually do have the time, then truly the question is that, they're not just prioritizing their schedules properly. And, you can talk about, how much time do you think we actually need to spend on the business? Because some people have this misunderstanding or this sort of this pre-thought that maybe they have to spend like 40 hours a week on this business. In some cases, people don't realize that, all they need is just 3 to 4 hours a week to start getting some nice, juicy residual income, coming into the bank account. So what you also want to do as well is, as the progression of chatting with them is maybe just sort of ask them, well, how much time do you think you need to spend on this business? And I've heard some say, well, 20 hours, and I don't have 20 hours. Well, do you have 4 hours? Yeah, I have 4 hours. Great, that's all you need to have, right? So, of course, I like asking fun questions, and I kind of ask a question, but more like a statement. John, how much time do you spend watching TV? The average Canadian spends 23 hours watching TV a week. And suddenly, when you start talking about priorities with your prospect and about how the most important thing is your family and your business and just prioritizing your life, man, this objection goes away really quickly. So moving along to the next objection that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard before is that, is it a pyramid scheme or is it a scam? And again, with this particular objection, you already know that they have a limiting belief in the industry of network marketing, right? It's not about their own limited beliefs. They actually have a limiting belief in the industry of network marketing. So, Anne-Marie, how would you sort of handle, if someone were to ask you, it's one of those pyramid things or a scam?
Well, first of all, I would be super confused because well, what do you mean a scam, right? So I would ask them, what's that? I would ask the question, what did they mean? But it would go even further to like asking them their story. Like there's something that they've been rather involved with that maybe costs money. Or like I would really be super confused, because then I would come out with my MacPack and showing them, the Canadian Business Journal talking about us, or the Canadian Business Journal, Oprah. I'll bring up all the accolades, all the celebrity, and showing people, do you really think that a pyramid scheme would actually be published in the world? Right? But most of the time when I get an objection, it's actually really funny, because people will say to me something like, oh, is this one of those pyramid schemes? My answer is no. And I am strong and confident, and I say no. And then that is done. I have to go forward because I answered the question, right? So because I'm really strong with that, most people now, after that, they're intrigued. Now they want to know more. And then I'll ask them, well, have you heard of a Canadian designer fashion house based online? Or I'll show them the MacPack. So I really use the tools that are there, and I don't take this pyramid scheme or scam for any. This is a business, right?
Wonderful.
There's good and bad business out there, and it's all how you market, and this is a good one. You want to know more about it? That's it.
Yeah, and I know that with this particular question, we can have a lot of fun ways of dealing with it. I know that Lior has a few fun ways. So Lior, share with us, what's some of your fun ways that you've dealt with this one before in the past.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite questions, because it's so ridiculous that it's actually just fun to answer, So anytime somebody says, is this a pyramid scheme or is this a scam, sometimes I say, well, is Gucci a pyramid scheme, or is Louis Vuitton a pyramid scheme? And they say no. And then I say, well, so what's the difference between Ferry, that's a luxury designer brand, and Gucci, that's a luxury designer brand? If you don't think they are, then why would you think that we are? It doesn't make sense, right? So, that's one way that you could answer it, right? Because that's what we are. We are a luxury designer brand. So what does pyramid anything have to do with us? Zero, nothing, right? So it doesn't even make sense. And so compare us to some of the other luxury designer brands in the world, and then what's going to happen is that they're actually going to feel ridiculous for even asking the question. Okay, so that's a good way to handle it. Another way to handle it is, you can just make a joke about it, because it's really, ridiculous that they're even asking. So you could say, oh, you mean like the pyramids in Egypt, or whatever it is, because again, it has nothing to do with our business, so it doesn't even make sense why they would be asking it. Sometimes what they want to know is, sometimes what they're really asking you is this something that's illegal? Are you sure it's safe? Is it risky? Something like that. They just want to feel comfortable that this is a good opportunity. Now, if this is somebody that I know who's asking me this question, then I would actually, look at them in a weird way and ask them in a weird way, do I look like somebody that would be involved in something that's, not right, or that is not legal or anything like that? It doesn't even, why would you be asking me something like that, considering you know me, right? And then usually that handles their objection, because obviously if they know you, then there's no reason why you would ever get involved in something
offensive, right?
Not good,
it's kind of offensive, right? So yeah,
it's kind of offensive that they would even be asking you, that question there. And if it's necessary, it's always a good thing to use third party credibility, because you can talk and tell them things about how great the company is, but they know you, or it's just you. But when you use third-party tools and third-party credibility, now it's not just you saying it. Now it's a lot of other sources saying the same thing that you are, and that's very powerful. So use the MagPack, use the Glamopack, use the media page on the website. Something like You could also say, well, you know, the owner of our company has been featured on the front cover of the American Business Journal. We have over 120 celebrities wearing our products, featured by the Canadian Jewelers Association magazine, and yada, 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 yada. And then when they hear that, now it's like, wow, this is an amazing company. How do I hear more about it? How do I get started with it? So again, use the third-party tools. That's what they're there for. They're there for you to tell your prospect, because usually the prospect doesn't even know. And I know that we mentioned these things in the tour. We talk about some of the third-party tools in the tour. However, there's so many things in the tour that they may have forgotten it, or they're not aware of it. So repeat it to them. And then when you repeat it to them, now to them again, it's just even ridiculous that they would even question anything about the company, because it's such a good company. So those are some of the ways that I deal with it.
I mean, you know, I love just the different kind of ways that you guys have, because really, you know, they're all very effective. And, you know, I hope after tonight's call, you're all getting a lot of value out of this. You know, one funny thing that happened to me when I was in Taiwan, someone actually asked me, you know, in Chinese, you know, the same version of this question, it's a pyramid thing. And, you know, I guess, you know, my natural reaction was, well, you know, they probably have an issue when it comes to this industry of network marketing. But to make a long story short, this person actually loves pyramids. You know, it turned out that he's actually looking for a pyramid system. And so what I've learned to do is you know, just to look confused, and like what Lior and Anne-Marie said, is ask them, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what are you talking about? Because usually when someone asks this question, it can only really mean one of two things, right? It can either mean that, you know, they're referring to the structure of the system, or they're worried about it being a scam. So if it's about the structure, you know, when I tell them that, well, you know, I mean, you know, if you think about the structure of the pyramid, then everything is a pyramid. I mean, your job is a pyramid. IBM, Microsoft, TELUS, you know, the government, everything is a pyramid system. And so, you know, if his really core, the core of the onion issue was with the structure of the whole thing, then by saying that everything's a pyramid, instantly kills that. If they're actually referring to, again, what you and Amber were talking about it being a scam or not right company, you know, again, that's offensive. But again, you had that third-party media credibility go and just, you know, slam out of the park. Again, launch them. You know, you're going to bombard them with just like all this amazing third-party media. So I love, again, the conversation we're having today, guys. Thank you so much. So the next one here is actually, you know, we have, it's self-sustained. It could be, you know, I don't know how to sell, or I'm not in a selling business, or I can't sell. You know, so these are, you know, again, very, very similar kind of objections. Worded differently, again, but very, very similar. So, you know, let's start with, again, Anne-Marie. So, Anne-Marie, how would you handle, you know, an objection? What are the key points you talk about when someone tells you, you know, I can't sell, or I'm not in the selling business, or, you know, I don't know how to sell?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to bring back the 3F, feel, felt, found. So listen to this. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I totally get it. I'm not a sell person, and I actually didn't want to be a sell person at all. But here's what I found. I found out that actually everybody buys jewelry all the time. Everybody wears it. So if everybody wears jewelry and buys it, would it make sense for them to buy it from you versus going to the mall, right? So if you were to find out a way where you can get paid for people to buy product that they already buy anyway, you'd want to know more about it, wouldn't you? That's basically what I say. Feel, felt, found, and ask the question, if I would you. Or sometime I'll bring up again, I know how you feel. I totally get it. I feel the same way. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to sell my friends, or I don't want to become that sell person. But what I found out is that everybody wish they have their own business. And as you know, online is very, everybody buys online. It's very powerful. Now, if you can have your own business, online business, with a product that everybody buys already all the time, would it make sense to know more about it? You'd want to know, wouldn't you? That's the way I handle this.
Oh, fantastic. You know, I've seen you do that so many times in the tours that we're together, you know, in Calgary, and they work so well as well, too. And, you know, I mean, again, you know, there's so many ways to address these objections here. So, you know, Lior, Anything else that you would want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question, and keeping on the feel, felt, found methodology, you could say I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. I also didn't know how to sell, or didn't like selling when I got started in this company. But what I found was that it's actually not selling; it's sharing. And so if I go to a restaurant and I really like the restaurant, and I tell somebody about it, well, I'm actually, telling that person to go to the restaurant, so I'm helping the restaurant to make money just by sharing my experience of it. And that person's going to go to the restaurant, and the restaurant's going to make money. But I didn't sell the restaurant. I didn't sell the food in the restaurant. I just shared my experience, and that person went to the restaurant. But I'm sharing about a great movie that I saw. The movie theater's making a lot of money because of my sharing, but I didn't sell the movie. I just shared my experience. So in this company is the same thing. We just share about the company. We share about the products, and then people get started and they start to do the same thing. And we offer people $200 gift certificates. So what if you didn't need to know how to sell, and all you had to do was offer people a $200 gift certificate just for their opinion of the products and company, and just shared the company? And then usually people say, yeah, I can do that. Well, of course you can do that. We have eight-year-olds, doing that. So it's very simple to do this business if you just look at it as sharing and not selling.
And, it's so cool because, what I usually find is that people who have this objection, they either are thinking, well, I don't know how to sell the products, or I don't want to sell the business. And what I tell someone is, by the way, John, you can't even sell if you try in this business, because you can't sell our products. For example, I have this ring that I always wear, and I'll point to my ring and say, John, this ring here, you can't sell this ring to people, because if they don't like this ring, no amount of me talking about this ring can ever make you change your taste for this ring. You just don't like it, because with our products, either you like it or you don't like it. There's no selling that can be done. I can't convince you to somehow like the style that you just don't like, right? And so I tell people, you can't even sell the product. All you can do is to share it. So have a lot of products with you, wear it on your body, or have some home parties and just share the visual side of the product. And if it comes down to them not wanting or thinking they can't really share the business or sell the business to someone else, usually I'll tell them, John, I tell them directly, John, it sounds like you're trying to you have the wrong mindset when it comes to this business. You're not here to try to sell a business to anyone. So I tell them directly, John, you're not here to sell a business to anyone. You're here to help other people either save or make some money. You're here to help other people, to share with them opportunity that you found. For example, you might say, John, I found a way to save on my taxes, and I really want to share with you. There's an incredible opportunity for you to go and take a look at, right? So I always tell the prospect, you cannot have that selling mindset, because you're not here to sell. You can't sell the product. You can't sell the business. All you can do is simply share it and share why you're doing it. So share, again, your enthusiasm, your energy, your excitement, what you found value for yourself, the feel, felt, found. I found out that, I can have great tax savings and have a chance to build some part-time income, and I really want to share that with you. And so once they understand that the whole point of the business is not selling, it's sharing, all of a sudden, they are much more open up. And again, I love to take it to a step further, where for people who are in North America or Australia, because of the whole tax savings, I'll actually ask the person, John, if you found a way to invest $200 for the retailer package, $169 plus tax, whatever it is, and get back $3,000 in tax savings, why would you not share with every single person, all of your friends and family, how to do the same thing? Do you think that your friends don't need to know how to save, $3,000 to $9,000 tax savings? So in fact, by you not even sharing with other people, you're actually being greedy. Why would you be greedy? So suddenly their mindset goes from the whole idea of, I'm not trying to sell to someone else, to, I'm here to help other people. And once that person has the understanding, they're here to help others, this business becomes so simple. So, again, so folks, so many great ways on how to talk about this objection here. And on to the next one.
One more thing, just to add really quickly,
Yeah,
Renee.
please, go ahead, Leo, please. Go ahead.
You know, sometimes people, they think that they will need to explain the business to people, and they think that they are the ones that need to help people to understand the business. But what they don't realize is that to build the business, the only thing they have to do is to show people a tour, which is either the video or to a live tour. So if people understood that all they have to do is send a video to people and then connect them with their My5 to do a three-way call, then it would be simple, right? So sometimes when people say, I don't know how to sell, they think it's going to be really hard. But when you explain to them how simple it is, just send people a video and offer them $200 and connect them to your My5 or invite them to a weekly tour. When they understand how simple it is, now they have realized for themselves that they're not going to need to do any selling because it's just as simple as sending people a video.
You know, it sounds like what we're all saying here again is to really keep peeling back the layers on that onion, right, guys? Because it sounds like we're trying to find out, again, you know, when someone says, I can't sell, maybe that's not the real objection. Maybe they have more inside they're not sharing with you. So they might think it's hard, you know, and they might think that they can't do it. So, again, I love this conversation here. Again, so folks, you know, I hope you're getting a lot of good notes here. Again, thank you for that, Lior. And so go to Anne-Marie. Any other thoughts here before going to the next slide here?
Definitely, actually, just like you just said about peeling the onion, you want to find out what it is. It's deeper than what they're saying. They, again, any objection fall into two categories, right? They rather don't believe in themselves or they don't believe in the profession. So if they don't believe into themselves, you need to make sure that they see how simple this is so they can believe that they can do it.
Right. Right. And if they don't believe in the industry, then, you know, you can, again, make them confident by talking about that side of things as well, too. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Wow, there's, a lot of great conversation going on here. On to the next one. Oh, this one's so funny. I don't know enough people. And this is kind of similar to, you know, sometimes I don't want to sell, I don't know enough people, because sometimes it's kind of, you know, tied together where I can't sell, but I don't want to tell my friends about this kind of thing, or I don't know enough people. So Anne-Marie, you know, I love the example that you use, and I actually stole it from you. So again, folks, you know, I love watching other people doing their meetings because I love listening to others because I can learn and pick up things from other people. And one thing I picked up from Anne-Marie is how you kind of give the example of the whole gas station. You know, so I hope you know what I'm talking about. But do you mind sharing your example of the gas station in regards to this objection?
I'd love to. I'm actually not 100% sure of which story you're thinking. Can you refresh me just a little bit more about the gas?
Yeah, it's one where you know where you know it's kind of like the last one where you know I don't want to tell my people, or I don't want to tell my friends. And the whole idea of, you know, if you're in a gas station, what would you do, right? So
okay,
you know, would you?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
totally.
You got it. Okay.
Thank you. See, you just needed to refresh me because I don't always use the same objection depending on the people, right? So the question or objection are different, but they all fall into the same thing again. So where I go with this is as simple as, well, I know you feel, I feel the same way. And what I find out is that if I have a gas station, or I ask them, if you had a gas station, would you tell your friends? And people will, yeah, you'll let them know to come and put gas, where your store is. But if is everybody going to come on the same day? Probably not. But they're going to come check it out. They might come in, put some gas in the car, but are they going to buy products inside? Maybe, maybe not. The point here is that I've actually been changing the gas station to a shoe store. If people knew that you had a shoe store, they come and visit it, but they might not buy right away. So your job here is to let people know that you have a retail store so they know where to go for next time. Now, the other thing that I mentioned to them is, let's say you have a shoe store in a mall. Now you have all the people walking by. So you're going to say, you'll probably say to me, well, what about all the people in the mall that I don't know that come and buy my shoes, in my retail store? So I'll say, well, one of the things I find out with this company that's awesome is that they have all the training for you to become successful and it's all free and it's all online. So just like a normal retail mall, you'll have people walking by. Well, here, you'll actually have people, you can get trained to how to have people coming into your virtual designer mall online. It's very free. The company's helping you by giving away $15 off any VIP that you help get started, and that, that works a lot well. So now I'm sure you know a lot of people that could benefit $15 off, right? Or sometime I'll take the tax way, right? I'll ask them, well, do you know anybody who has a full-time job? And then they're like, well, yeah, of course I do, but they don't live here. Or they'll bring something else. And then I'll just literally say anything like, well, if you know anybody who has a full-time job and they don't have a home business, they need a business to be able to save up on all the taxes. And I go back to the feel, found, and I let them know, I know you feel, I feel the same way, because when I moved there, because I'm not from where I live now, I actually couldn't speak English, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't have and I can do this business because it's so simple, because people can actually see it just because the product speaks itself. So people are always constantly asking, where did you get this, or where did you get this ring? And I'll bring them to either my website or show them how they can get paid to wear it. So it's very easy. You don't need to know anybody. But I'm sure you know anyone who would like to save on tax or would like to have more time and freedom, right? So I always finish with a question where they can bring back. And then just like Lior was saying later, the big asking the question and asking them why, so they can really think of why this is for them, right? So that's how I handle this objection. So hopefully that's the story you wanted to hear from me, Renee.
Yeah, well, perfect. I actually use that gas station story so many times, almost every time. It makes sense to me, I mean, if you had a gas station, would you not tell anyone you had a new gas station business? No, you tell anyone you have a new gas station business, right? And so, Lior, I know this objection, again, it could be a limiting belief in themselves, or it could be an issue with the industry. So, how would you handle this, if at all different?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of ways that you could deal with it. If somebody tells me that they don't know enough people, again, use the 3 Fs. I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. I didn't think that, I would know a lot of people, but what I found is just by wearing the products, people came up to me. And so I didn't have to go out there and find a lot of people, because just by wearing the products, people complimented me on them. And when they complimented me on them, then I shared about the company and about the products, and that's how I introduced them. So, I know that for myself personally, just by wearing my timepiece and walking around with it and going to seminars with it, and just by the amount of people that have approached me about what I'm wearing, I've actually made a lot of money. So I have made a lot of money just by wearing the products and people complimenting me, and then through that introducing them to the opportunity. So that's the beauty of having products that are visual, is that you don't always have to go out there and get people. When you have a visual product, you're going to find that you're actually attracting people to come to you. So that's one way that you can handle that objection. Another way you can handle it is, again, to ask the question, if you would you. So, if you did know a lot of people, if I can show you a way that you can actually have access to a lot of people, and then I could show you a way to speak to them, to share the opportunity with them. So I can share some scripts with you. I can show you where to find those people. Would it be worth it for you to do that so that you could travel more, or spend more time with your family, or save money on taxes, or all of the things that they told you that they really want to do in their life? So again, you're linking this to the things that they really want to do, and then they would say, well, yeah, obviously that would be something that I would want to do if you showed me how to do it, and if you taught me how to do it, and if I knew how to do it, I would definitely do it, because I want all of those great benefits that this company gives. So then what you would say is, great, well, once you get started, we actually have training that can show you exactly where to find people on Facebook, on Craigslist, on Kijiji, how to prospect, and shopping malls so that you could find people, and we have scripts that we can share with you that'll tell you exactly what you can say to them to have them be interested in the opportunity. And then they say, oh, great, well, let's get started, and then we can get the training going. So again, as long as you make them feel that it's okay that they don't know, but once they get started, we're going to show them how to do it and train them because of the great training and support that this company gives them, you'll find that they're okay that they don't know about it.
Fantastic. And I really like how you added the whole that if you, knew more people, would you share the business, because I think that, again, will help you determine if that person, is really worried about their own network or if there's more behind that onion that they're not telling you about, right? And so, if it really is about just not knowing enough people, again, I'd like to also add that we have great email templates where, for Valentine's, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, birthdays, you just go and blast the email templates, and literally just from, a few people and the referrals, you can make a huge business, right? So, and if it is in regards, in truth, the fact that they have issues about the industry, again, that comes down to, again, them, that they have a limited belief about the industry, that they don't feel like they should even share with other people this company, and we have to go over that about the whole, like the tax savings, helping others, third-party credibility, et cetera, et cetera. So again, wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for how you guys handle these objections. And the next one here, again, kind of similar in some ways to the previous one is, I don't think this business, is for me. And so, Lior, how would you kind of deal with someone who says, Lior, I don't think this business is for me?
Well, something that I like to say when somebody says, I don't think this business is for me is, well, what's not for you? Is it the big money or the free time? Because everybody needs those things. So obviously this business is for them. So again, something is holding them back, and we need to peel the layers of the onion to figure out what it is, right? So, again, it's just asking questions in order to peel the layer of the onion. So, okay, I hear what you're saying, that you don't think this business is for me, but what exactly do you think is not for you? And then what they might say is, well, I don't think that I can sell. Well, great. Now you can just tell them about all of the things that we just talked about how to handle the objection of, I don't know how to sell. Or they could say, well, I don't know enough people. Well, then you could tell them all of the great things that we just explained about how to handle that objection. So behind this objection, what you're going to find is some of the objections that we have just talked about that you can use. So again, peeling the layer of the onion is going back. Another thing that you could say is, if they say, I don't think this business is for me, something that I like to say is, well, what did you find the most interesting? And now what their answer to that question is why they think this business is for them. Okay? So just ask them. So I hear that you think this business is not for you, but what did you find the most interesting? And if they say, well, I like the fact that I could save money on my taxes, okay, great. Well, then I guess this business is for you because it can help you save money on your taxes. So, there's a lot of different ways that you can answer this objection, and really what doesn't make sense is that they think that this business is not for them. And that has to be your attitude. That has to be your confidence. That has to be your posture when you're speaking to them. When you respond to this, they need to feel that what they just said doesn't make any sense, because there's no reason in the world that they wouldn't want more time and more money and save money on their taxes and spend money on their and to spend time with their loved ones and travel around the world. It's ridiculous that would not be for them. So again, either there's something they don't understand, there's questions they have that we need to figure out what those questions are to answer them. So this is a really great question to practice peeling the layers of the onion.
So really, what we're saying here is that this objection is not the core. This can never be the core reason why they're having a blockage. So we have to, again, peel the layers back on the end, ask them, well, what part of the business do you think is not for you, right? And so, Emery, I think the next question, again, is very similar to this one, because the next question, Anne-Marie, is, well, I don't know if this business will work. And, so I mean, to me, I would almost answer this the same way, like the last objection, where, well, what part of it don't you think will work? But, how would you handle this objection, Anne-Marie?
It's exactly the same thing than the other one. What part of this business isn't for you? Is it making more money? Is it you want more time? I also say things like, exactly like, I love it. We all say the same thing. So if you learn really what question to ask to get those layers out, you'll find out the roots, and then you can help them and educate them and get them where they need to go, right? So, what did you like best? What part did you find interesting? Basically, I don't take a negativity. I grab the negativity of I don't know if this business works, or I don't want to do this business, to how can you, or what part did you like? So now they're thinking in that different mode. So yeah, exactly the same thing. What part of this business don't you think would work for you? Is it the part that you'd make too much money or you have too much free time? But really, at this point, I'd like to know what did you like best, or what did you find the most interesting? And then now all of a sudden you're switching off to this business, I'm not sure if this business will work, to what can I do with it for themselves. Right. Everybody's individual, different.
Okay. Well, folks, it's already been an hour, and I feel like we're just getting started, but I have to respect, everyone's time on the call tonight. And so I'm going to tease you guys, because we have to end the call tonight, because it's already about half an hour. We're actually going to finish this in part 2 for next week, but I am going to show you guys the objections that will be covered in part 2, just to make sure that, you're dying to get back on for the part 2 of the session here. So, the other objections we're going to cover later on hopefully next week's call, it should be next week, is what do you say if someone says to you, I have no money? Okay, so that's a big one, I have no money. How would you handle that one? And, me and Marie have great ways of how to handle that one. But also the other objection where someone tells you, well, I need time to think about it. Okay, I need time to think about it. We're also going to cover the one where someone tells you, well, I don't like or wear jewelry, or it's a business for females, or I'm not into jewelry. We have amazing ways on how to handle this objection, so make sure you're back here again next week for this call. We're also going to cover another big one where someone says to you, well, I have to go home and talk to my wife, she wears the pants, or I got to talk to my husband because, he's the breadwinner, I got to talk to my spouse. We're going to cover that one next week as well, too. We're also going to cover, not a very common one, but one that you will get from certain people, such as, well, how do I know this company will last? Will it be here for a long time? We have, again, amazing ways on how to handle this one over as well, too. Or, why did it grow so slowly? When do you think, why do you think we have no competitors? Why are your products special? Why would people buy Fairy and not Gucci or LV? I never heard of Fairy. No one has heard of Fairy. What makes you different than other companies? A bunch of products are expensive, or my country is special, can't afford your product. I make a lot of money. I don't need this. Or it could be, is this MLM or network marketing? Or, again, we have a few more ones that we have that, I'm pretty sure that you'll have happen to you at least a few times in your business here. And so, but again, fortunately, we don't have enough time for tonight. I did want to thank, again, our amazing 2 co-trainers for tonight's call. Again, Lior and Marie, thank you guys so much for taking your time to share with the world tonight, the things that you say, the things that you guys do to turn results. And, everyone can see, again, the results that you turn on the family page. We see the results too. So, again, folks, thank you so much. Any last-minute words from Anne-Marie or Leo before I cover some of the comments and questions? Again, folks, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to just type that into the question box. But yeah, Leo, Anne-Marie, any last comments you want to add before we end the call today?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you everybody for being on the call. And wow, I can't even believe an hour has gone by. I feel like we're just getting started here. We have a lot more objections to cover. And if you want to make a lot of money in this business, memorize what you heard here tonight. Watch the recording over and over and over and over again. make sure that you can repeat in the exact same words, because remember, the words that you use make a difference. So use the exact same words when you're handling objections, and by doing that, you're going to notice that you're selling more products, you're sponsoring more people, your business is growing, you're winning more awards, you're making more money, you're a top earner. All of that is going to be a result of you memorizing what you learned here today. Watch it twice, 3 times, 5 times, doesn't matter. Handling objections is the key to this business, because people don't join this business during the tour. People join this business after the tour, after you've answered all of their questions. And so the better you get at this, the more successful you will be. And I can't wait till next week, because next week we got a lot more objectives that I'm really excited about to cover. And if we need to, we'll have a part 3. You know, whatever we do, whatever we need to do in order to get all of the objections answered for you guys, definitely let us know. And if there's an objection that you did not hear tonight, or that you did not hear Renee talk about for next week, send us an email. Let us know what the objection is and how you would like us to answer it, and we will answer it on next week's call. Anne-Marie?
Thank you. Well, same here. I want to congratulate everyone for being on the call, because obviously you're listening into something that will change everything, you know, in terms of your business. So knowing what to say to people is key to everything, and being on this call and the next part coming up will be the key to know what to do, and to, like, exactly like Lior said, memorize it. I have, and I'm still doing it, and it works. So when you know something works, would it make sense to keep on doing it? So I'm super excited coming up, because, you know, for me, you know, the first one is I don't have money is something that I used to get all the time, and I love my response, and I'd love to share it with you, because that was my problem when I started, so I know exactly how to overcome it, for me anyway. But seriously, you know, you're taking this action to listen to this call, which is the action to your success. So stay tuned for what's coming up, and if you have any question or anything to add, just send us an email. Thank you.
All righty. Well, again, thank you, Lior. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you, everyone on the call tonight. So we have a quick 2 comments here, of course, but before the comments, again, the biggest time is coming upon us this year. It is our annual convention, the biggest do not miss event. You must be insane to miss the event, and do you want to wait another year to do your business event? You're just nuts if you don't show up. Event is coming up June the 5th. Fashion show, Friday night training, Saturday training, again gala night, very much for giveaway. Your chance to rub shoulders with the top leaders. But most importantly, your time to get all the education you're going to need to learn to get to 5 figures a month in under your time frame. Do not miss a convention. Please make sure you have your tickets. Again, thank you so much to our co-trainers. We have some comments coming in really quickly. Again, from Venetia saying, absolutely, this is one could say you're living. I'm very grateful. From Anat and Balaz, again, from Australia, excellent webcast. From Errol Trench, says Renee, Lior, and Anne-Marie, great points, great training. You hit the nail on the head with this call. I cannot write fast enough to keep up. Again, great training. Thank you, Errol Trench. He also added, you guys had so much fun this call. I think it should be a call every 3 months. I too had fun. Great team you are. Thanks, Errol. Again, Errol, thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate that. And we're having a lot of fun because handling objections becomes like a fun thing for us, right? So from JC in Alberta, thank you guys from Alberta. Again, from Gladys, thank you for the great training. Can't wait till next week. From Vanessa to Carson, great training. Anne-Marie, different Anne-Marie says thanks. Again, from Ricardo and Rosa Maria saying thanks to all. We've learned very practical advice. Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome. From Linda Reynolds saying this was great again. You are all the best business partners ever. From Colin McMurdy saying awesome stuff. Thanks for your insightful information. Can't wait to use what I've just learned. And from Makisha saying great training, guys. I can't wait for next week. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on the call tonight. Can't wait to see you guys again same time next week for part 2 of handling objections, and have yourselves a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Renee and Anne-Marie. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Lior.
Good night.
Good night, Emery. Bye, everyone.